The 12th of February, 2026 is approaching fast, and if you're an international worker or student in the UK, there are 8 confirmed immigration rule changes that have either already taken effect or are about to hit, and most people have no idea what's actually changed. Graduate visas slashed from 2 years to 18 months starting January 1st, 2027. ILR timelines extended from 5 years to 10 years for certain categories from April 2026. English language requirements jumped from B1 to B2 on the 8th of January, 2026. Overseas recruitment banned for specific job levels from July 2025. And that's just 4 of the 8 major changes. I'm breaking down every single rule change with exact dates, who's affected, which changes are already in force versus coming soon, and the 3 critical deadlines you cannot miss if you want to protect your visa status. I'm Cole Warren, and if you're an international worker or student navigating UK immigration, this video is absolutely critical because the rule changes happening between 2025 and 2027 are the most significant overhaul of the UK immigration system in years. And the government has rolled them out piecemeal, one change in July, another in November, another in January, which means most people don't realise just how dramatically the landscape has shifted. Hit that like button right now if you're on a UK visa or planning to apply for one, because this comprehensive breakdown needs to reach everyone affected by these changes before they make costly mistakes. Right, let me start by giving you the timeline of when each change took effect or will take effect, because understanding the dates is crucial. The first wave of changes hit on the 22nd of July, 2025. The second wave came in November 2025. The third in December 2025. The fourth on the 8th of January, 2026. The fifth is coming in April 2026. The sixth on January 1st, 2027. And the seventh in August 2028. That's 7 different implementation dates over a 3-year period, which is why this is so confusing. Let's start with the changes that have already happened, beginning with the 22nd of July, 2025. This is when the government removed certain job categories from the skilled worker visa sponsorship list. Specifically, jobs classified under RQF levels 3 to 5, that's Regulated Qualifications Framework levels, can no longer sponsor international workers unless there's a specific exemption recommended by the Migration Advisory Committee. What this means practically is that roles like certain warehouse supervisors, retail team leaders, and hospitality shift managers, positions that previously could sponsor skilled worker visas, can no longer do so. If you were in one of these jobs and your visa expires after July 2025, you cannot renew in the same role. You need to move to a higher skilled position or a different visa category. On the same date, the 22nd of July, 2025, overseas recruitment for social care workers was banned. This specifically affects care workers and senior care workers who were being recruited directly from overseas. If you're already in the UK working in social care on a visa that was granted before this date, you're protected. But new applications from overseas for these specific care roles are no longer being approved. The rationale the government gave is that they want to focus on training domestic workers and preventing exploitation of international care workers. But the reality is that care homes across Britain are desperately understaffed, and this ban has made recruitment even harder. Now, the second wave of changes came in November 2025, and this one actually benefits certain applicants. The government expanded and simplified the high-potential individual visa and the global talent visa routes. They increased the quota for these visas and made the application process less bureaucratic for highly skilled workers in technology, science, and research fields. So while most immigration routes are getting stricter, if you're a researcher, tech specialist, or in a globally competitive field, the UK is actually making it easier for you. This shows the government's strategy: restrict general immigration while competing for top talent. Then in December 2025, employers faced a significant hit. The immigration skills charge that companies pay when sponsoring international workers increased by 32%. This charge was already £1,000 per year for small and medium companies and £364 for charities and educational institutions. The 32% increase means employers are now paying significantly more to sponsor the same workers. Why does this matter to you as a worker? Because employers factor these costs into hiring decisions. If you're competing for a role and the employer has to pay substantially more to sponsor you versus hiring a British worker, that affects your chances. Some employers who were willing to sponsor at the old rate are reconsidering at the new rate. But here's where the changes start hitting international workers and students most directly. On the 8th of January, 2026, the English language requirement for skilled worker visas, scale-up visas, and high-potential individual visas increased from B1 to B2 level. This applies to new applications and renewals submitted on or after January 8th. If you took a B1 English test before January 8th thinking you'd use it for a visa renewal in March or April 2026, that certificate is no longer valid. You need to retake the test at B2 level. And as we covered in a previous video, this has already caused numerous application refusals because the government website guidance wasn't updated clearly. Now, before I reveal the April 2026 change that's causing the most panic, this is critical. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications because immigration rules are changing every few months and missing an update could cost you your visa status. Drop a comment too. Which of these changes affects you most, and did you know they'd already happened? Right, April 2026 is when the most controversial change takes effect, the extension of indefinite leave to remain timelines. For years, most visa holders qualified for ILR after 5 continuous years in the UK. From April 2026, that baseline is shifting to 10 years for many categories. But here's where it gets complex. Not everyone is affected equally. High earners, people making over £50,000 annually, still qualify after 5 years. Public sector workers in health and education also maintain the 5-year route. But medium-skilled workers, which includes many international employees in administrative, technical, and support roles, are now looking at 10 years instead of 5. And it gets worse. If you claimed public benefits for more than 12 months during your time in the UK, your timeline extends to 20 years. If you've had any period of illegal stay or overstaying, you're looking at 30 years. That's not a typo, 30 years before you can apply for permanent residence. The government's justification is that settlement should be earned through consistent contribution to British society. But the practical impact is devastating. Imagine you arrived in the UK in 2023 on a skilled worker visa planning to get ILR in 2028. Now you're being told you won't qualify until 2033. That's 5 extra years of visa renewals, fees, uncertainty, and restrictions on your life. Now, there's some protection for people already in the immigration system. If you arrived before these changes and you were on a 5-year pathway, you should still qualify under the old timeline. But you need to prove when you arrived, under what rules, and that you've maintained continuous qualifying residence. The burden of proof is on you, not the Home Office. The 6th major change affects international students and recent graduates. From January 1st, 2027, that's next year, the graduate visa is being reduced from 24 months to 18 months for undergraduate and master's graduates. PhD graduates still get 36 months, but everyone else loses half a year of post-study work time. This might not sound dramatic, but think about graduate job timelines. Most schemes recruit in autumn and winter for positions starting in summer or early the following year. If you graduate in July 2027 and you only have 18 months instead of 24, your window to secure skilled worker sponsorship is significantly tighter. And here's what's particularly concerning. This reduction is being implemented just as the English language requirement for transitioning from graduate to skilled worker visa has increased to B2. So international students face a double squeeze, less time on the graduate route and higher requirements to transition to work visas. The 7th change affects universities and is scheduled for August 2028. Under this rule, universities will need to pay the government £925 per international student per year. This cost is intended to fund immigration enforcement and compliance monitoring. Universities are panicking about this because it could add millions to their costs. Some institutions are already talking about reducing international student intake because the financial model doesn't work anymore. If you're planning to study in the UK in 2028 or beyond, this could affect which universities accept international students and how many places are available. Universities are also facing stricter compliance requirements. They need to prove that every student they've sponsored has genuine English language qualifications, proper maintenance funds, and legitimate academic intentions. Universities that fail compliance checks can lose their sponsorship licenses entirely, and university administrators can face criminal penalties, including imprisonment. The eighth and final major change involves how the government is enforcing all of these new rules. There's been a massive increase in sponsor license revocations. Companies and institutions that were previously allowed to sponsor international workers and students are having their licenses reviewed and in many cases revoked if there are any compliance issues. Between July 2025 and now, hundreds of employers have lost sponsorship licenses. Some were genuinely problematic, fake companies, visa mills, exploitation operations. But legitimate businesses are also getting caught up. One compliance failure, one documentation error, one worker found in technical breach of conditions, and the entire sponsor license can be revoked, affecting all workers sponsored by that employer. So what does all of this mean if you're an international worker or student in the UK right now? First, understand which changes apply to your specific visa category and when they took effect. If you're on a skilled worker visa, you need to know about the July 2025 job category restrictions, the January 2026 English requirement increase, and the April 2026 ILR timeline extension. If you're a student or recent graduate, you need to know about the January 2027 graduate visa reduction and the August 2028 university fee changes that might affect future study options. Second, verify your own pathway to settlement. Don't assume you're on a 5-year ILR route just because that's what it used to be. Check the current rules for your visa type, your salary level, your occupation. Calculate realistically when you'll actually qualify. Third, prepare for higher costs and longer timelines. Visa renewals are more expensive. English tests are harder. Settlement takes longer. Budget accordingly and don't make life plans assuming the old system still applies. Let's quickly recap all 8 major changes with their dates. 22nd of July, 2025, RQF Level 3 to 5 job sponsorship removed and overseas social care recruitment banned. November 2025, high potential individual and global talent routes expanded. December 2025, immigration skills charge increased by 32%. 8th of January, 2026, English requirement raised to B2. April 2026, EILR timelines extended to 10 years baseline. January 1st, 2027, graduate visa reduced to 18 months. August 2028, universities charged £925 per international student. An ongoing, massive increase in sponsor license revocations. This is the most comprehensive overhaul of UK immigration in years, and it's being implemented in stages specifically to avoid mass panic and political backlash. By spreading changes over 3 years, the government can claim each individual change is minor while the cumulative effect is enormous. International workers and students are facing longer timelines, higher costs, stricter requirements, and more uncertainty than any previous generation of UK migrants. But here's the thing, if you understand the rules, plan accordingly, and act strategically, you can still achieve your UK immigration goals. It's harder, it takes longer, it costs more, but it's not impossible. Here's what you need to do: hit that like button if this comprehensive breakdown helped you understand what's changed. Subscribe because more changes are coming and you need to stay informed. Drop a comment, which change affects you most, and has your settlement timeline just been extended? Share this with every international worker and student you know in the UK. They need this information before they make visa decisions based on outdated rules. Next video, I'm breaking down exactly how to navigate the new 10-year ILR pathway, including which categories still qualify at 5 years, how to prove continuous residence, and what you can do to accelerate your timeline. Until then, stay informed, verify everything, and remember, the rules have changed, but your UK future is still achievable if you adapt strategically. The 3rd in December 2025. The 4th on the 8th of January 2026. The 5th is coming in April 2026. The 6th on January 1st, 2027. And the 7th in August 2028. That's 7 different implementation dates over a 3-year period, which is why this is so confusing. Let's start with the changes that have already happened, beginning with the 22nd of July, 2025. This is when the government removed certain job categories from the skilled worker visa sponsorship list. Specifically, jobs classified under RQF levels 3 to 5, that's Regulated Qualifications Framework levels, can no longer sponsor international workers unless there's a specific exemption recommended by the Migration Advisory Committee.